What if a single explosion in 1908 was more powerful than 1,000 Hiroshima bombs, yet nobody has ever found its source? In a remote corner of Siberia, something detonated with the force of 15 megatons of TNT, flattening 80 million trees across 800 square miles. And here is the strange part: there is no crater, no meteorite, and no debris field. Scientists have debated it for over a century. Conspiracy theorists have built entire worldviews around it. Today we are diving into the Tunguska Event, the most mysterious explosion in modern history, and we are going to separate the facts from the fiction. It was 7:13 a.m. on June 30, 1908, in the Siberian wilderness near the Podkamenia Tunguska River. Eyewitnesses reported a fireball brighter than the sun itself. Then came the explosion. The blast was heard over 500 miles away. Seismic stations across Europe and Asia recorded tremors. The night sky glowed so brightly in the following days that people in London could read newspapers at midnight without artificial light. Nobody would visit the site for another 19 years. When the first scientific expedition finally reached the area in 1927, led by Russian mineralogist Leonid Kulik, they found a forest completely flattened in a butterfly pattern radiating outward from ground zero. But there was no crater. No fragments of a meteorite. Just 800 square miles of destroyed forest with trees lying in neat rows pointing away from the center, as if an invisible hand had pushed them down. So what actually caused this? The scientific consensus today points to an airburst from a stony asteroid about 50 to 60 meters wide. That is roughly the size of a 20-story building. The asteroid entered Earth's atmosphere at over 33,000 miles per hour and heated up so rapidly that it exploded about 5 miles above the ground in a massive fireball. This is called a meteor airburst, and it explains why no crater was found. The object never actually hit the ground. Think of it like a giant firecracker going off in the sky instead of on the surface. But here is where it gets really interesting. The same mechanism nearly destroyed a major city more recently. In 2013, a much smaller asteroid exploded over Chelyabinsk, Russia, shattering windows across 6 cities and injuring over 1,200 people. That object was only about 20 meters wide. A Tunguska-scale event would be about 500 times more powerful. If that 1908 explosion had happened just 4 hours later, the Earth's rotation would have placed St. Petersburg directly in the blast zone. This is where the conspiracy theories begin. In the 1940s, Soviet science fiction author Alexander Kazantsev proposed that the explosion was actually a nuclear-powered alien spacecraft that crashed in Siberia. His theory gained traction because of eerie similarities between Tunguska and the atomic blasts at Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the mushroom cloud, the radiant heat, the flattened trees radiating outward. Some researchers even pointed to genetic mutations in trees and insects at the site, claiming radiation exposure. While mainstream science attributes these to other factors, the theory refuses to die. In the 1970s, physicist Alexei Zolotov spent 17 years investigating and concluded that only a nuclear explosion could explain the data. He believed an alien craft with a nuclear engine had malfunctioned and detonated. But the most fascinating conspiracy theory involves Nikola Tesla. According to this version, Tesla was testing his secret death ray at Wardenclyffe Tower in Long Island. On June 30, 1908, he supposedly aimed his weapon at the Arctic and accidentally triggered an energy discharge over Siberia. Proponents point to Tesla's interest in wireless energy transmission and his claims of being able to split the Earth like an apple. Some even claim Tesla was targeting explorer Robert Peary's expedition, which was threatening his benefactor J.P. Morgan. Mainstream historians dismiss this entirely. Wardenclyffe Tower was shut down in 1905, 3 years before Tunguska, and no technology from that era could produce anywhere near that kind of energy. Scientists have seriously considered other theories too. In 1965, physicists proposed a chunk of antimatter annihilated itself in the atmosphere, explaining the massive blast. Another theory suggested a miniature black hole passed through the Earth, entering in Siberia and exiting in the North Atlantic, but no exit point was ever detected. Then there is the methane gas idea, 10 million tons of natural gas leaking from the Earth's crust, ignited by lightning, explaining the lack of extraterrestrial debris. Here is what the evidence actually shows. In 2013, researchers analyzed tiny particles embedded in trees at the site. They found silicate and magnetite spherules matching the composition of common stony meteorites. This strongly supports the asteroid Airburst theory. In 2020, computer simulations confirmed that an asteroid 50 to 80 meters wide entering at a shallow angle and exploding at 10 kilometers altitude would produce the blast pattern observed. But mysteries remain. Why were there unusually bright nights across Europe and Asia for days afterward? Scientists think it was comet dust scattering sunlight. But no one has ever found the actual impactor. And Lake Checo, a small lake near the epicenter, may be the only surviving crater evidence, or it could just be a normal Siberian lake. The Tunguska Event remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the modern world. A force equivalent to 1,000 atomic bombs, 100 million tons of TNT, flattened an entire forest in seconds, and we still cannot say with absolute certainty what caused it. Subscribe to join us on this journey of discovery. The truth is, these rare but devastating impacts remind us that we live in a cosmic shooting gallery. Asteroids and comets cross Earth's orbit every day, and most of them burn up harmlessly in the atmosphere. But every few hundred years, one gets through. Tunguska was a wake-up call that nearly went unanswered. Subscribe again if you want to stay informed about the science that could one day save our planet from the next big one. And if you enjoyed diving into this mystery with us, hit that subscribe button one more time. It helps us keep bringing these incredible stories to you. The next great mystery is waiting, and we will see you there.